Linux doesn't use file extensions like Windows to identify files. So how does Linux know the file type of a file? We can take a look at a couple of examples to see how this works. In this folder, I've got some files, some of which don't have extensions, others have the wrong extension. Files are identified by using markers that are typically found at the beginning of the file or the end of the file. These are just patterns of characters that identify that file type. For example, PNG files typically start with a symbol followed by the letters P and G. Similarly, other file types like JPEGs have their own file identifiers. We can look at these in some of these files that we have here by using hex dump to dump out the first characters of the file. Let's take file 1 for example, and we'll restrict the output to just the first several lines. Because this is an Intel processor-based computer, these small blocks are read from right to left. So here we see 8950 4E47. If you were to take those characters and look those up on an ASCII chart, you'll see that they're a symbol followed by the letters P and G. So this file named file1.jpg or JPEG is actually a PNG file. This doesn't hurt the Linux operating system because it's not using the file extensions to know which program to open the file with. It's looking at these file identifiers. If we try to display this file, it'll display just fine. So let's take a look at file 9, which doesn't have an extension at all. With file 9, we see 54B0304, an identifier sometimes found in Excel files. Since there's no file extension, how would Linux know what kind of file this is? Well, there is a database maintained inside of the Linux operating system that keeps track of the files not based on their extensions, but based on their file identifiers. There's a program, appropriately called file, that you can use to look up the file type based on these file identifiers. So let's try file number 1 again. The file program finds that this is the PNG file, just like we suspected before. And if we look at file 9, we'll find that it's an Excel file. In this case, it's a particular kind of Excel 2007. So if you need to identify the type of file in a Linux OS, you can just use the file program to look it up inside of the file identification database.